Hey guys, welcome back to another installation of Judging Books by Their Covers. Before we get started, I wanted to say if you have subscribed to my channel, thank you so much. You all really do mean so much to me. If you haven't, please subscribe. It costs you nothing and it would mean the world to me. Plus, you'll get notified when I upload new videos, which I tend to do on Tuesdays and Fridays. And if I decide to upload new videos, you'll get notified. If you end up enjoying this video, please like, comment, and share. I would love to hear your thoughts, and I would really love if you could share this video with anyone that you think might also enjoy it. As usual, we have 5 books that we will be looking at today. I have never seen these books, not the titles, not the covers. I will be reacting to them for the very first time and then putting them into a rank blind. So going at the top will be, this is a book I'm most likely to pick up and take home without even looking at the back. And 5 is, I would think about it maybe one day, but maybe I would pick up the book to look at it. So it's like least likely to pick up. That being said, let's go ahead and dig in. Ooh, this looks so good. The first book we're looking at today is called The Wager, a tale of shipwreck, mutiny, and murder. I'm immediately thinking this is about pirates, so sounds cool already. The author is David Grann, with 2 N's. And below, the author's name is at the very top of the cover, and then below the author's name it says, #1 New York Times bestselling author of Killers of the Flower Moon. Didn't they make that into a movie? Wasn't that a movie, like an Oscar-winning movie? Okay. So those are all the words in the book. The title's at the very bottom of the cover, although it's interesting because the title is like almost all the same font, but the word wager is so much bigger than the rest of the words. So it's like the book is about the wager specifically. Like it does, like a tale of shipwreck, mutiny, and murder is like still kind of part of the title, but like the wager is like humongous. So it's interesting that's it's an interesting design choice. So the image of the cover behind all the writing is literally, it could be honestly just a painting, what it looks like, of a huge ship. Like it looks like a ship from like the 1800s. You know, it has all of the huge sails and all of the masts and I don't know ships. I'm throwing out words I've heard on TV. But it looks like a really old, huge ship that like travels like long distances. And it is in a very, very, very like a roiling sea. The waves are, it looks like the waves are overtaking the ship. Like the waves are huge, the water is all over the place, the water is very restless, and then the waves look like they're taking over the ship. And that follows with the word shipwreck, a tale of shipwreck. That makes sense. So the rest of the cover, like that's all we're really looking at. Like you see the ocean, you see the ship, and then the sky behind it. It looks like there's a storm going on. So I'm going to guess that's why the sea is so restless. This sounds so good. Oh my gosh, this sounds so full of adventure and intrigue and mystery. I love it so much. I can't, I would pick this up so fast. Am I really going to put the first book we're looking at today at #1? Yeah. This book is going to go at #1. I would pick this up instantly, and honestly, I might even just press buy right now. Okay. I have never seen a cover. This is a very interesting cover. So the next book we're looking at today is called The Boy, the Mole, the Fox, and the Horse. The author is Charlie, I'm gonna guess Macri or Mackenzie. I can't tell if that's an S or an R. I'm gonna guess an R, so I'm gonna guess Charlie Macri. And that literally this cover is so sparse. It's very, very minimalistic. So the title's at the very top, the author's name is at the very bottom, and then in the middle is a drawn image. You have part of a horse, not in a grotesque or horrible way, just like the rest of it you can't see. It's like not in the image. It's like the front part of the horse is bending down, like the neck is bending down, looking at and basically kind of sniffing the head of a small child. And I'm gonna guess a boy because it says the boy. And the boy is holding clearly a little mole, like a little animal, little mole, which is so cute. I love animals, so they're so cute. And then there is a red fox. Technically they're orange, but they're called red foxes. I don't know why. Right there at the boy's feet too, but facing away, like facing away from us. We can't see the fox's face. And the drawing is like, I don't know terms for these things because I'm not an artist, so I have no idea. But it's like, you know, when you're starting the drawing process or when you're watching people start the drawing process and they start with certain shapes and then they form the images around the shapes, those shapes are still in this drawing. So it's like we're watching the beginning of someone drawing this and they haven't finished it yet. So it's interesting. I have no idea what this book is about or what this book could be about. I like that there's a bunch of little animals involved, but I don't know what this could be about. I think I would pick it up because the animals would draw my attention. I love animals so much. And I would just, I would have to know what this book is about. There's something so intriguing to me about the fact that the drawing looks unfinished, but then, and then there's animals and they all somehow have to do with the book because the title involves all of them. So there is something that really catches my attention here. So I definitely would pick it up to look at it. But at the same time, I don't know how I would feel about taking it home right away. So I think I'm going to put that at number 3. Okay. The next book that we're looking at today is called Twice. That's it. It's just the word twice. The author is Mitch Albom, except instead of a U in the word album, it's an O. Like that. A novel, so Twice, a novel is what it's called. At the very, very top of the cover, it says author of the #1 bestseller, The Stranger in the Lifeboat. I like that title. It catches my attention a lot. And then right below that is the author's name, and the author's name is in very big font, which it's like orange and yellow, which is kind of perfect because the background is blue, so it really stands out. So you can really see the author's name, and I like that. The title's kind of in the middle of the page and actually part of what's going on the cover, so I'll get to that. At the very bottom of the cover, there is a tagline. It says, "What if you got to do everything in your life again?" Personally, I wouldn't want to do that, but I mean, to each their own. There's also a sticker on the cover. It's like a Good Morning America book club choice, in case that means anything to anybody. Now, the title is kind of towards the bottom of the page. It looks like it's on top of a very reflective surface like water, but I don't know if it is water because it's on top of the reflective surface, but the I in Twice is 2 people kind of standing like face to face, embracing each other. And it might be a man and a woman. It's just their silhouette. It's kind of hard to tell, honestly. I'm going to guess that it's a romance based on everything that I'm kind of reading here. The other thing is that because I mentioned that it's on a reflective surface is because the title, which includes the 2 people, is reflected on the reflective surface. So you see twice. And I love that design choice. I don't know what this book could be about in terms of like where it takes place or why, other than the fact that you get to relive your life again. I don't know. It's just there's very interesting design choices here. And the tagline really does get my attention. What if you got to do everything in your life again? Even though I wouldn't like to do that, I would like to read about characters doing that. It's like, now I get to do this all over again with the knowledge I had after I did it. I do think I would pick it up right away. The whole cover is blue. It fades in and out, like depending on where the cover, like where things are on the cover. And I really like how everything stands out on it. And the concept intrigues me. So yeah, I'm gonna put this book at number 2. Oh my god, this makes me think of Doctor Strange. Okay, so the next book that we're looking at today is called Tailored Realities, which the title also makes you think of that too. The author is Brandon Sanderson, #1 New York Times bestselling author. The author's name is at the very top of the page, but it's in huge font, so it takes up half of the cover. And then right below that, it says #1 New York Times bestselling author. Honestly, you see the author's name more than, like, that's the first thing you notice, and then you see the title, which is at the very bottom of the page. And it does have kind of a tagline underneath the title. It says SF, which usually stands for science fiction, and fantasy tales, so science fiction and fantasy tales, including the thrilling Moment Zero. Not that I know what that means, but Moment Zero is in quotation marks, so I'm guessing it's a reference to something. It's so hard. I don't know if I'm going to be able to describe what I'm looking at in terms of the image and why it makes me think of specifically the movies Doctor Strange. Behind the title and the author's name is an image. Might be computer generated, it might be drawn, hard to say. It could not be a photograph because this is not real. It is a city, like we're looking at a city almost from a bird's eye view from the top, and everything has been warped into a circle. Like there's several circles, kind of, and all of the buildings, like it's almost like we're looking at a miniature planet being created out of these cities, if that makes sense, kind of. And yet there's a hole in the middle that almost looks like a portal. We're looking at the city that is not in a circle, just flat on the ground, normal, behind this creation. So it's definitely giving sci-fi. Absolutely. This does seem really interesting. I don't normally read science fiction. I watch a lot of science fiction TV shows and movies, but I guess a lot of the science fiction I've read has been dystopian, and it makes me sad, so I've stayed away from that genre for a while. So I don't know if I would immediately want to pick this. I think I would be definitely curious. I'm like, am I looking at this correctly? Is this a city that's being like warped into a circle? Like in Doctor Strange? In one of those movies? I don't remember which one. It's been a while. So I don't know. We only have spots 4 and 5 left. I just don't know how likely I am to pick up this book. So I think I'm going to put it at #4 because I might be a little interested to pick it up and look at it. So that does leave the last book going in slot #5. Regardless of how I feel, this is not a diss towards the author, I promise. Okay, now I see what I'm looking at. It took me a second. I had no idea what I was looking at when I first pulled this up. So the last book we're looking at today that goes at #5 is called The Living and the Dead by Christopher. His name is spelled differently. Instead of PH at the end, it's 2 Fs. Christopher Carlson. That's really funny. He has 2 Fs and 2 S's. That's really funny. Right above that, because this is at the top of the cover, it says international bestseller, and then the author's name. And then the title takes up pretty much the whole page, but at some points it becomes transparent so you can see like parts of the image behind the title. There is a little bit of a review quote, though, right above the title. It says, "Far and away my favorite Scandinavian crime writer." You know, that makes sense. Christopher Carlson, Scandinavian. Yeah, that makes sense now that I think about it. That quote is from Fredrik Backman. It's really interesting. Next to the title, it says a novel about a crime. So it's about a single crime. Okay. Also at the very, very bottom, it says translated by Rachel Wilson Broyles. So this was originally not written in English, which always intrigues me, because the thing about reading books that were not written originally in your native language and reading them in your native language once they've been translated is wondering if all of the concepts and ideas like accurately got represented, because I don't speak any other languages super fluently, but I do speak a couple of other languages, like a little bit. And the more I learn about languages, the more I'm like, I just don't understand how we can accurately translate so many languages, because so much meaning comes from just little nuances in the language that I'm like, I just don't know if we can get the full context from translations. So it does intrigue me reading translations of things. So I am curious about that. Now, the image, the background of this cover is all blue. Like it's a very light, like icy blue. Like think that blue, light blue Gatorade color. Like that's what it looks like to me. And it threw me off because I'm like seeing all of these little black spots and things. And I'm like, I don't know what I'm looking at here. And then I realized we're also looking at this cover from a bird's eye view from above. It's a forest in winter. Everything is completely covered in snow, but it's like we've got the lighting of Seattle in the Twilight series, where everything is just a light blue because there's no sun out. It's just cloudy all the time. That's what it's giving me here. And in the forest, there is a clearing, and there's a car driving through the clearing, and you can see the tracks being made by the car as it makes its way through the forest. And it's dark. You can see like it has to have the headlights on and stuff. So the other interesting thing that really catches my attention is the author's name and the title are in a very, very bright yellow. Now they become transparent when it goes over some of the trees. And I think that's an interesting choice. It's like the title and the author's name are blending into the cover, like the picture, the story. So I think that that's a really cool choice. Now, this does go at number 5, and I don't know if I love it at number 5. I think I'm okay with it at number 5. I would want to pick this up and look at it, especially after reading the review quote and seeing that it's about a specific crime. So I would be interested in that. But I'm okay with it going at number 5. Like, that's okay for this week's rank, this week's books. So that is all for this week's video. Let me know in the comments what you guys think. I'm pretty happy with this. Again, I could have switched 4 and 5, but I do think that in this situation, that's kind of how I would pick up the books. I would pick up 4 first, and then I'd pick up 5 first. So I'm still okay with it going there, but let me know what you guys think. That is all for this week's video. Thank you guys so much for watching. Have a happy new year, have a safe new year, and I will see you all in the next video.